Hello, welcome to Tech Turks. Today I have Esigie of VerifyMe. VerifyMe is a KYC technology company. Basically, they tell people who people are. Esigie, thank you for coming on the show. So how did it start and why did it start? We like to hear the background story.
I'll tell you, I think we have a very interesting story. So the founder of VerifyMe, Tunji Oluwole, in 2013, moved back from the States. And he came with his family, hired a cook. At the time in Nigeria, we didn't have the advent of NIMC and BVN. And he did a preliminary background check as best we could at the time. After a few days, they were poisoned by the cook. They slept for 18 hours, and when they woke up, they had been robbed. About a week later or so, they actually did an investigation. They found this cook. And because he had a different ID with a different name that wasn't linked to biometrics, there was no way for the family to get justice. At that point, I think Tunji realized that there was really a serious problem in society where people are hiring domestic workers and you can't really trust who's coming through your doors. So interestingly enough, VerifyMe started as a work history reporting company because that was the issue at the time. And we started collecting biometrics on domestic workers. And over the years, we kind of went from strength to strength or opportunity to opportunity where it started out as work history. And in 2016, we realized government policies were coming online for APIs. The real problem wasn't just a domestic hiring one. It was actually an industry one where you couldn't have trust either in hiring or in delivering services to customers because there was no digital identity that was collected in a proper fashion. So we evolved into becoming a KYC and ID verification company at that point, and have grown and become VerifyMe today ever since.
So now we're in a transition state. So clearly, your company has evolved as well.
Yes.
So how have you managed that transition in terms of? So what's the mix of capabilities? Is it individual? I mean, of course, there's the manual, but there's the digital.
Very interesting. Because of the KYC ecosystem in Nigeria, it's a very good question. A lot of people come into this business thinking that KYC is something that's real-time ID verification, you're going to get it instantly. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. So the way we look at ourselves in VerifyMe is we're digitizing identities so we can deliver trust, essentially. The last mile capability we have, and I think we're one of the few companies, or probably the only one that actually has the proper hybrid, is that we have linked all our API capabilities to our last mile verification capabilities. So all of the services that you would need for full, I would say, customer demographic to be able to trust your customer, the ID part, the address part, the guarantor part, the work history part, we can deliver in a digitized fashion over API. Now, the way we also do this is, for the past 3 years, we've been building a network of agents across the country. Today, we have about 2,500 agents, 2,500 agents across the country. We operate in every state in Nigeria. We actually service quite a few banks. Our first customer was Diamond Bank, actually. Thank you very much. And today, we service Access Bank, UBA Bank, Unity Bank, and a few other companies, and more banks are coming on. And we actually we scale to do up to 20,000 last mile address verifications alone monthly. So that's pretty big for us.
So, I mean, you're a small business that has scaled into a big business now. So I would say
startup.
You're beyond startup now.
A little bit.
My question is, what are you doing to help small businesses access this kind of service? Because I know your story started with an individual.
Exactly.
Identifying this problem, had a cook, couldn't verify the exactly. Credentials. Now, many small businesses do have this problem, and they don't have APIs, or I don't know if they have APIs. But how can you provide this service at scale? Because the small business problem is not one or two or three different companies. There are millions of them. Is VerifyMe positioned to do that?
Yes, and that's a very good question, actually. And, one of the things we were able to do, first of all, because we decentralized the last mile verification process, we tell ourselves, we took the Uber model they use in terms of going from A to B with cars, and we basically, decentralized it in terms of doing verifications, is we made it very affordable. So even somebody now who wants to check a nanny or a driver, you can do the ID verification, the full address verification, that's anti-money laundering compliance, that's CBN Tier 3 compliance, starting at 600 Naira. pretty much, and that's for domestic as well. So we've really put everyone in a position where trust is accessible to you, digital trust of your customers is accessible to you, digital trust of your staff is accessible to you, and it's affordable. And we're very intent on making it something that every Nigerian can attain at any time.
Let me ask a question, practical. So at home, I'm going to blend it. At home, I have 3 staff. I have a cook, he has a BVN. My wife had just brought this young lady from the village to help train her, so no credentials at all. And I have a driver. How would I go about using VerifyMe to get the right information?
So because we're a verification platform, we link all verifications to a unique ID, right? So in order to do an address verification, we have to verify that the individual we're verifying that address is real. In order to bring all of these together, we actually have the capability for NIN, for BVN, FRSC, and are working towards...
so you mean that you can actually do BVN for...
Yes, we can verify any of those IDs on our platform so that we can bring all of it together.
How are you creating awareness for VerifyMe and selling the business case that this is very, very important? You need to know the people that are working with you, and if they don't have any identification, you actually need to get them identified or verified.
Yeah, and for 2 reasons. Number one, it's helping that employee, and then for the second reason, it's protecting you as well. How we get them is, people need our services for 2 reasons. Number one is compliance, right? There are a lot of human resources organizations within organizations that have to have proper background checks of people that they're hiring. And the second, even in the financial sector, is compliance. So, for example, banks can't open accounts, at least CBN Tier 3 level accounts, without proper CBN Tier 3 address verifications. Lenders can't give loans without proper BVN checks and background checks and all. So it's socialization. And then for the domestic side, it's really, you should really trust the person that's coming into your office, coming into your house. There's a protection aspect to it also. We find that when somebody knows you have their ID, in Nigeria, and they do something in your home, and they know you can report it, and what you report will be published to, under, of course, Nigerian data protection rights, to future employers, it actually curbs workplace behavior. But to answer your question, the way we go about, letting people know about our service is talking to them about the compliance aspects of their businesses, talking to them about also compliance for financial sector aspects of their businesses, but also talking to them about how we can, another thing we say about ourselves is we enable business growth through trust. Talking to them about how we have services that can meet their business throughput. So if you want to process 1,000 customers a minute, you can use our APIs for it. If you want to process, 1 customer a week, you can use our portal for it. So we also have those different products there that meet, customers at the point of their needs.
Last question: how do you see VerifyMe playing a role in this great project of ours in Nigeria?
So that's a very good question. I think that what our vision is to play a big role. And you're right, it's more than financial inclusion, really. It's social inclusion. It's the ability for even the average Nigerian to feel like they can go to places and just get services quickly without wasting so much time, carrying so many documents, carrying a file of things. Just go, I want insurance, can I get it? I want, a loan, can I get it? I want whatever service requires my KYC. Do I have a digitized identity where, I am now marketable and I can put myself online to other people and say, hey, I want this service, can you sell it to me? So I see us playing a big role in enabling business growth through trust. And I also see us playing a big role in enabling the average person to include himself in the marketplace for products, all these great available products that are going to be available in Nigeria over the next 5 years. So that's really our goal and our vision.
Esigie, thank you very much for coming on Turks,
Thank you very much.
and we'll continue the conversation offline.
Yes, for sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice one.